have to deal with probably a second defender rather than just one. That being said, it should allow opportunities for other players off the ball to find more space and more scoring opportunities, and that's where you need your secondary or maybe not primary strikers to step up. Just because you haven't been the leading goal scorer all season doesn't mean you can't come up big in a tournament like this.
And that will roll in, as I was just a little bit too far there out of the reach there of Shanice Maxwell, who we talked about how St. Thomas has a lot of first and second year players. There's a lot of graduating players here on this Dal AC Rams, and Maxwell is one of them, unable to come up with that ball. And once again, they're trying to spree her loose, and Cronin comes in and kicks it out of harm's way and into touch, and that's a good move there by Cronin there, the starting goaltender here for St. Thomas, and Summer Nasser there for the Dal AC Rams, the starting goaltenders, as we're coming up to 5.5 gone here in the opening first half. Rams here with a little bit of pressure, but it's going to be St. Thomas Tommy's McCartney, who we have talked about there, and she has had 9 goals in the regular season, a pretty good season for her. And she, of course, was scored in that 2-1 loss back to Dal on October 22nd.
I think what we've seen the biggest problem from St. Thomas for this part of the tournament is transitioning from defense to offense. Right now, you can even see they're parking everyone behind the ball except for Kinney, the striker in 4 in green for the Tommies. And what that's really doing is it makes it difficult to transition because Kinney is their only outlet when they go to clear the ball. And no discredit to Kinney, she's done an excellent job at trying to corral that ball when it gets kicked free. But it kind of helps if you have 1 or 2 more people up there further up the pitch to help support her. If the Tommies want to get out and transition today and move the ball up the offensive third, they may need to give Kinney more support than she's currently receiving.
Rams on the rush here, and that's snuffed out there. Nice place to work there by Vandermeulen under Summerside Prince Edward Island there, stopping the attack for the meantime here for the Dal AC Rams, so they get right close to our broadcast location, close towards midfield. Here's Katie Walsh. She's had a pretty good season here. She's in her 4th year, and she also scored in the 75th minute versus Stu, and that was back in September. So, pardon me, that was actually the October game, the 2-1 one.
Talk about players who have been unlucky this tournament. Katie Walsh has had several good chances from the defensive positions further off the pitch. She's been taking some great free kicks for the Rams and just gotten a bit unlucky on some of those where goalkeepers come in and made excellent saves. Keep an eye on her to move into the more defensive midfield position, maybe take a crack at goal.
Wiseman was trying to take a shot, but a nice little challenge there by Vandermeulen there for St. Thomas Tommies. Now they're going to try to break out, having a little bit of time and room, and that will go into touch again.
Seems like the advantage so far has been with Dal AC from a possession perspective, playing a lot of this game down in the attacking third.
We can pretty well expect that it's going to possibly be like, we talked about the 2 regular season matchups. Both of these teams, we talked about St. Thomas only had 14 goals in the regular season, and the Rams only had 19. So we could probably really expect this to be a low-scoring one, as the goal kick will be taken here by Cronin. And it's been, as we mentioned, both of these teams have had it tough, and the goaltenders have had it tough here. So they would definitely love to finish their season here strong and try to come up with a victory here today. And coming up and getting things started is Vandermeulen there for St. Thomas. And now they will go back to Hughes out of Fredericton, New Brunswick there. Lead ball up ahead. Here's a foot race. Fullerton trying to get to the corner there into the 18-yard box. And they might have something. There's a challenge there. In the meantime, the Fredericton player goes down. Loose ball and hits the post. Actually, they're saying
I think they're saying it's in. I think it was off the inside of the post and did cross the byline. So St. Thomas will get the first goal here against the Dal Agricultural Campus.
And it comes in the 8th minute. It was, as you said, it dinged right off the goalpost. The Dal AC Rams kept on playing, and then all of a sudden there was a celebration. So St. Thomas Tommies will take a 1-0 lead. And it was a pretty, that play pretty well developed quite quickly. A lead ball that got Fullerton, and she got it into the 18-yard box, and they got it deeper into the 6-yard box. And you get into that area, you're pretty well going to have a good chance to score. And the St. Thomas Tommies did. That rolls out, and a goal kick coming the way out of the foot of Cronin here for St. Thomas Tommies.
I think that goal is very indicative of what St. Thomas has really learned and improved on so far this tournament. I mean, let's not kid ourselves. They've been starved of possession. Although a shot here.
Oh, and it tips off the crossbar, off the fingertips of Cronin, and almost a Christmas gift there off the goal kick. They put it right onto the foot there of Maxwell, and then of course they had a chance there at a shot, and Cronin just got her fingertip and hit the crossbar. So Dal-AZ trying to strike and even this game up.
I was mentioning earlier, both St. Thomas and Dal-AZ have pretty much been starved for possession so far in this tournament. And I think what we just saw there on that attack from Stu that resulted in the goal is that they've learned to be very careful with their offensive possessions, not make any mistakes, because in a tournament like this, when you're a team like Dal-AZ, who, no discredit to them, have just kind of been outclassed talent-wise, you've got to be careful and you've got to be meticulous with your attacks. And we saw there they took no chances that they didn't need to. They worked it well down the left sideline, got it into the 18-yard box, and found a pass that resulted in a goal.
Here's Cora Sharp. She's had a busy time here because not only has she, basically got here to the Nationals. Before that, she was in Toronto at the Royal Winter Fair with a cow show, and of course she was representing Team New Brunswick in that category. So fresh off the plane and here for the Nationals, so she's going to be pretty well tired by the time this one's done. There's a strike there by Wiseman, and that's denied there by the St. Thomas Tommies, and there's Sharp trying to come up with the ball, Lothar there for Dal-AZ, and now they'll bring it back. Here is Sharp now, up the middle, and that's off the head there of the St. Thomas player, and now they'll get things started. They'll send it over here. Here's Fullerton now, and nice little play by Wiseman. She's been all over this pitch here for the Dal-AZ Rams. They'll send it over here. They'll try to get Maxwell going. Back to the outside. Here's Leach now. Can't she get there in time? No, it will roll out to touch. And a St. Thomas throw-in as we're coming up to the 11.5-minute mark here in the first half. And of course, a goal in the 8th minute here by St. Thomas has them up 1-0.
It's been a very good response following the goal by Dal-AZ. It's their response, that is. They haven't let it shake them too much, and it looks like a
yellow card
there to number 9 for St. Thomas. That'll be Fullerton. Didn't quite see what happened. Maybe just late tackle. Studs coming in. We'll keep an eye on that, see how it develops for the rest of this game. But Dal-AZ has not let the goal shake them. They've stuck with their offense and kept the monster share of possession. They're kind of knocking at the door here with this free kick.
Now, you've been here since pretty well opening day. How has things been in terms of yellow cards? Has it been sort of quiet on that front, or have you seen some every once in a while? Or has it been?
This will only be the third one we've seen.
Third one.
There was that straight red card to Michaela Hamilton in the Douglas game on the second day, but outside of that, discipline has been it hasn't been a real talking point so far this tournament. Like I said, a yellow card here or there, but they've been few and far between, and really kind of, it's good to see the class of the CCAA as a whole at a tournament like this, where we haven't had to talk too much about suspensions and yellow cards and red cards.
St. Thomas sort of fighting there, and now they're on the attack and trying to get a lead ball up there. Sharp there for the Dal-AZ Rams. Has a little bit of help there from Wiseman there. Doesn't get the pass. It's now out to the center of the pitch there. Once again, Fullerton. And we'll go out for a Dal-AZ throw-in. And taking the throw-in here is Leach out of Calgary, Alberta. And puts it right to a St. Thomas player and kicked into touch again. And Rams quickly trying to get things going, trying to hit Maxwell. And all kinds of green jerseys back there to snuff that one out. And they'll send it here. Vanden Meulen gets it towards the middle to Hughes. Outside there, pass a little bit too far out of the reach and allow the Rams to send it right back down. And here's a foot race. This is Muse going to be going back there for St. Thomas. Cronin there. Whoa, bounced it off, and it's right there in the 6-yard box as a deflect off a Dal-AZ player in a big gaping net, but no other white jerseys around. So
very nearly an inadvertent goal there. Dangerous Dal-AZ right now. They look to be really very much on the attack. And here's Maxwell again, who's going to test Cronin.
Maxwell with the strike, and the big hands there of Cronin comes down with it. What's funny is that even though that St. Thomas has the goal, Cronin has been a little bit busy here of the two goaltenders. it seems like St. Thomas had one attack and they put the ball in the back of the net. Actually, it just hit the inside of the post, to be quite honest. But Rams here look like, they keep going here. They may end up tying this game as we come up to 14.5 gone here in the opening first half. There's the cross attempt there by Leach, and it hits off St. Thomas, and I believe this could be the first corner here for the Dal AC Rams.
You're absolutely right, Dan, how, St. Thomas had that attack that did result in the goal, but after that it's been pretty much all Dal AC just pounding this, the 18-yard box and net of St. Thomas. Another corner here coming. Maxwell's going to put her foot through it.
And well defended, knocked out there by St. Thomas. Can Maxwell get there to keep it in? Yes, she can. Left footer strikes once again, and that's a bouncer there, and a little bit of a knuckler there, and Cronin on a second chance comes up with it.
Cronin has had a lot of action so far this first half. We've seen her cope well with it in previous games, and she's showing her class here this afternoon with several good saves early on in the first half.
Yeah, we talked about the wind there before the game. Of course, it has died down because Cronin would be kicking into the wind when it was blowing from right to left. Now it seems to be going like across the field. You can see the Canada flag when we get to the center of the pitch here. In the meantime, this is Vandermeulen here for the St. Thomas Tommies. Nice little challenge there by Wiseman, but she'll keep possession of the ball. They'll try to center it, and that goes off the head there of Vandermeulen and to the outside, and Sharp has a chance to try to go for a little bit of a run here. Oh, nice little piece of work there by Vandermeulen, coming back in the nick of time there and really snuffed out a scoring attack and try to get things going in transition here for the Dal AC Rams. In the meantime, St. Thomas will get the throw in here.
Hats off to Vandermeulen. She realized that she couldn't win the ball on the attack, but stayed with it, tried to turn it over against the Dal AC side, and under team a throw in. Looks like it'll be a free kick here going the way of St. Thomas. Maxwell's committing a little push there right around half field.
Yeah, it did complete progress here, so now will allow a big free kick coming up here off the foot of Kaylee Roberts out of Moncton, New Brunswick. And rather than try to kick it up, just passes it to Hughes. There's a big shot from well out, and Nasser fields it on a bounce. Originally, I thought she was going to try to come out and try to catch it without hitting the turf, but did play it off and got there just in the nick of time before the striker there for St. Thomas could get anything going. As we take a look at Moira Kenny out of Florenceville, Bristol, New Brunswick. She had a goal in the regular season. And as I mentioned, 14 goals were scored by St. Thomas, 9 off the foot of McCartney, Kenny, McDermott, Fullerton, and Hickman. The other goal scorers in the regular season here for St. Thomas. So
Kenny is, she's definitely playing a difficult role in this Stu team because, as you mentioned, scoring sometimes isn't necessarily her priority as much as it is holding the ball up and letting the offense come to her so they can get forward in transition. She's also been applying excellent defense to this Dal AC back line and the back line of teams that they've played in the past. Really a great engine on number 4 in green.
Well, you talked about defensive roles. I mean, when you've scored 14 goals in the regular season, you're, looking at the stats, they were averaging about 1.17 goals a game. All of a sudden you have to be really stellar defensively and really limit the opposition to shots and scoring chances when you have difficulty scoring. So, as you say, she's got to play a little bit of a difficult role here. Fullerton, like her so far here in the first half, and of course she's the one that really got the strike into the 18-yard box for, of course, the St. Thomas goal. Meantime, Wiseman now with a big strike there. Nice little footwork there by Maxwell, trying to get it to Leach, and that would be a St. Thomas throw-in. As we are coming up to 18.5 gone. Goal in the 8th minute here by St. Thomas seems to, as they're on the real scoring chance, and they put it right off the iron, inside post to make it 1-0. There's Walsh there. They'll set things up here as Langelo's trying to get a pass over to Leach. Unsuccessful. There's a cross towards the middle, and that's kicked out of harm's way back to the center of the pitch. 3 Rams in the area, but it's going to be Walsh come up with it, trying to get a lead ball going off to the races, and it's a good thing there that Rankin, their top goal scorer there, put on the brakes. She was definitely behind the defender, so it would have been offside. So goal kick coming up here for St. Thomas here as we pass the 19-minute mark here.
Good on Rankin. Check the official on the sideline. It looks like gonna have a chat over here at the bench. Not really sure what's going on.
Yeah, the ref making his way over to the St. Thomas little, dugout, you could sort of say. And you see that the players bundled up there, blankets. Game time temperature -3, wind chill of -11, and it's only going to go up to about a high of 2. So it's definitely a cold day, but as you were saying when you and Scott were calling games yesterday, it was rainy, windy. It was I'm sure the players sort of like playing in the sunshine. Yes, it's chilly, but I mean, the thing is, if it's raining and cold, that's really not good weather conditions for soccer. But
yeah, the only consolation is there were only 2 games yesterday rather than the usual 4, so didn't have to come nearly as early or stay nearly as late. But here's an attack mounted by the Rams. Rankin coming in.
On the run there, inside, there's a strike there off the left foot, and another chance there down low by Maxwell, stopped by Cronin there. Bend but don't break, seems to be St. Thomas now. Here's Woodward there following up, the American here on this team, and another chance there by Luther. Luther tried to get a strike there and went wide, another goal kick. So yeah, Rams are just a little bit snake bitten. You talk about, they gave up 16 goals, of course, in the championship so far. So they've had some difficulty scoring. Of course, they ended up having to go to penalty kicks in the ACAA championships, and they went 13 rounds before University of King's College Blue Devils ended up coming up with the victory. So a little bit of bad luck, you could probably say, but sometimes you have to earn your own breaks, and Rankin, they'd love to get her going.
Absolutely.
And now she's going there, but can she keep it alive? Yes, she can now for the meantime, as she gets along the wing there. Has a little burst of speed, the Edmonton, Alberta native. We'll send it back. Walsh now. And up there challenging in the face is McCartney, playing a good one-on-one battle, and that will roll into touch. And Dal AC will throw it in, and Woodward will throw it in here for the team out of Toronto, Nova Scotia. There's headed into the 18-yard box. Here's a strike there, and it hits the body and will roll out. And it's going to be Rams ball and another corner kick.
Dallas really, I had the pleasure of watching them quite a few of their games in the regular season, and it really seems that right around tournament time they kind of hit a rough patch of play and have kind of been struggling to get over that hurdle since the ACAA tournament, where you mentioned they fell in penalties. A rough loss there, and nearly a goal there. Open net left by the Tommies, and they're just going to clear it away off the back line.
And roll into touch, but that was a close one once again. Another gaping net. So they kind of have to be really happy that they're leading 1-0, but since that goal, Rams have really stepped it up. They just haven't been really able to get a good strike towards Cronin and that St. Thomas net. Rolling to touch again, and another Dal AC throw-in.
Dal AC really has just controlled the pace of this game, even from the kickoff almost, despite being down a goal. It's been the monster share, the lion's share of possession has been by Dal AC in this St. Thomas, defensive third. Got to be a little frustrating they haven't been able to find the back of the net yet.
Lead ball up ahead, but it was all white jerseys back. Here's Wiseman once again. Oh, that goes right into the side of Fullerton. A second chance here by Walsh, and now they're going to try to spring Leach open down the wing. Can she get it there? Keeps it in. We'll drop it back. Here's Walsh now. Into the 18-yard box there for Maxwell. Back out. Here's Langell. Rankin now following up. Nice little spin move there to try to get away. Oh, and a nice challenge there is getting down to the dirt there was Muse there. And falling down, losing her footing. Maxwell, there's a strike from well out. Walsh hits it and looks to the sky afterwards. Not too happy about that strike. Goal kick here, St. Thomas.
Well, I think we are seeing the effects of wind. Cronin took a goal kick a moment ago that drifted out of bounds. I think that last shot there from Walsh could have been goal bound, but the wind may have just pushed it a little bit on the deck as she swung through it. And here another ball from Cronin. You can tell that's not where she's trying to put it. It's just getting lofted up in the air by that crosswind and getting pushed from right to left.
One of the other goal kicks that she had went right to a Dal AC defender, went to a Dal AC player, and almost a second one there. There's a lead ball. It gets by everybody. It will stay with St. Thomas. As we're coming up to 24 minutes and 30 seconds gone here, 1-0, St. Thomas leading. Alongside James Wise, my name's Dan Hobson, and our producer, camera operator Brian Fisher, to Bell 5 TV1 here at the CCAA Women's Soccer Nationals. And as we mentioned, goal in the 8th minute there by St. Thomas as it hit the inside of the goal post. And that's where we stand. If you're just tuning in here on a Saturday morning, get your breakfast and enjoy some soccer action as that cross there. And Rankin coming in there, and of course, going to be called on the offside. Goal kick coming here for Cronin. Past the 25th minute. St. Thomas has a little bit of a vocal fan base here this morning, wherever you're watching. And that's another offside called.
Looks like Maxwell just trickled across that defensive line a little early and get flagged for the offside. Yeah, it's good to see that both these teams have actually traveled well. We can hear the St. Thomas Tommies and the AC Ram fans in force here on this last day of play. They've been great all season and all tournament for that matter, playing great hosts here in the ACAA.
Well, you mentioned Cronin having difficulty. As soon as she kicked that, it just, spun right back, and she just walked back, and, she's definitely puzzled here. What do I have to do? And I think that maybe you said about the wind, maybe things may change here in the second half when teams, of course, switch ends. She may have a little bit of difficulty, and you talk about the wind. It just rolled it right there off the 6-yard box there. Rankin there on the challenge there against Muse. And we'll go into the bench there of the Dal AC Rams. Of course, both of these teams there, the thing is, yes, it's a placement game, but they want to win this because they want bragging rights, and you want to finish the tournament off strong. And for Dal AC Rams, they have a few players that will be playing their last game. Some are Nassers and a 4th-year student. Maxwell's a 5th-year student. Katie Walsh, 4th year. So, 4 4th-year students and 1 5th-year student. So, and sometimes with the Dal AC, 4th and 5th-year students are a rarity at that university. So they're kind of hoping for maybe like a stronger showing here. But, thing is that both of these teams should be given credit there, James, as St. Thomas has a little bit of rush there. Ooh, there was an unfriendly kick there to McCartney, and she's had a little bit of tough first half for St. Thomas. The second time she went down earlier, and she was slow to get up then, and she's slow to get up now, trying to walk that off, and that's something to keep an eye on, their top goal scorer, McCartney. Just to get back to my point here, James, that both these teams, like for the St. Thomas Tommies, it was the first ACA Women's Soccer Championship they won in 17 years, and it's been, 20 years for the Dal AC Rams to be back, and have their strong finish that they had in the regular season. So it's nice to see these teams, sort of have like a bounce back sort of year.
Right. Well, we really are blessed in the ACAA that this year it could have been anybody's tournament.
Yeah, exactly. It was like, pretty well every team from like 1 to 6, anybody, it was so close in the standings, And
I remember, of course, being around the Kings team much more, but the women, it was down to the last day whether they were going to qualify, and they only qualified on goal difference. They were tied with points with Holland College, and that's the type of competition you really want to see in a league where, from top to bottom, everyone can be competitive on any given day of the week, and that's what we saw in the tournament. A 4 seed beating a 1 seed, a 3 seed advancing and winning the whole tournament. It really is it stirs the pot, I should say, in the ACAA to have every team so competitive with one another.
Well, yeah, I was looking at the stats and the statistics, and I have to admit right now that when I'm not here, that I do cover the Rams in volleyball and basketball. So a lot of talk has been about this soccer program that the women have put onto the field this year, and of course their head coach Jackie Ryan and the fine staff that she has had. It's definitely been the talk of the campus, and there hasn't been really that much talk about the soccer program, for years on that. So, to have the strong showing that they had, and it talks about how close things were in the ACAA. So, and of course, both these teams have had some difficulties here at the tournament, but they're sort of trying to finish off in style. There's a challenge there, and looks to be that going to be the St. Thomas player that's going to be called for the foul, Kenny there. And a little bit of a reaction there from the Tommies fans close to our broadcast location, not liking that one too much.
It's coming up on the 30th minute now, so 1/3 down, 2/3 to go here in this 7-8 matchup featuring the Dal AC Rams and the St. Thomas Tommies, the two Atlantic Canadian representatives here at Nationals.
That's a good lead ball, but they're going to run out of real estate. And it'll be goal kick.
Dal AC, I think, is maybe slowing up a little bit here on the attack. We've seen St. Thomas controlling a little bit more possession. The Rams have got to keep their foot on the pedal here in the last 15 minutes or so of this first half. We talked to Scott earlier this week about how important, first 5-10 minutes of any given half are to kind of dictate the pace and the script of the match as a whole. And we saw St. Thomas come out of the gates a little bit quicker than Dal AC, at least on the offensive end, scoring a goal early in the 8th minute. Dal AC is struggling to respond right now. Plenty of time left to go for them, though.
Rolls into touch and a throw in for Dal AC. And as you mentioned, we're coming up to the 31st minute. Goal in the 8th minute there by St. Thomas. And going back there for St. Thomas is Bertolin there. And another throw in, and Rankin takes it quickly. They're trying to set things up here for the Rams, and another offside there. They've had like 3 offsides here so far for the Rams.
It's almost a good problem to have offsides. Of course, as a coach, you hate to see it, but it shows the diligence and the energy of this Dal AC line. They're very excited, very energetic. They want to get into the attacking third, and it's if you're having a player run too fast to get to the ball, well, there are worse things.
Oh, there was a challenge there, and the St. Thomas player, she hit the surface hard, was Kenny, but she got up quickly.
Kenny has definitely taken some blows so far this tournament. Really been a great player for them, and it looks like McCartney will head to the bench early for St. Thomas. McDermott will come on, Katie McDermott, number 7 in green, to replace Nikita McCartney. Possibly a big change there. McCartney, a huge source of offense for the Tommies in the regular season, as you mentioned earlier, Don.
Yeah, well, basically she got injured. That second time she was really, favoring her ankle, so I imagine they've probably seen something that she's probably not really running the best, so they are basically going to the bench. So that is a huge story, as you mentioned, James, as we get back to this one, coming up into our 32nd minute here. Rams near on the attack. Lead ball they tried to get, but right there was Muse there for St. Thomas as they're close to the midfield pitch. There's another lead ball snuffed out there by Sharp towards the center. St. Thomas there just trying to generate an offensive chance. They've only really had one offensive chance, but they took advantage of it and striking off the inside of the post. There's the head off the head there of Roberts there for St. Thomas Tommy. So, as you say, McDermott is in for McCartney, as was the substitution.
McDermott, we've called her name quite a bit this tournament. No stranger to the pitch here at Mainland Commons is Katie McDermott. I'd say expect her to have a lot of energy in these last couple minutes of the first half. Is replacing Nikita McCartney as a large source of scoring, but she's definitely up to the task this morning.
Well, yeah, like she had 1 goal in the regular season too, so I mean she's capable of striking pay dirt here for the St. Thomas Tommies, but all of a sudden for the Dal AC Rams and the Jackie Ryan staff, you can sort of maybe have a little bit of a sense of relief that McCartney's not out there, one of the big offensive weapons. But the thing is that it's not really the offense that has really been the issue here for Dal AC Rams, they've had their chances. They just haven't been really able to capitalize, and most of the play has been in the St. Thomas end of the field. They just haven't been able really to get a good strike there towards the net. And now here is St. Thomas there towards the midfield. There's a challenge there. Up there is Lothar there for the Dal AC Rams.
Excellent play there. Vandermeulen just playing around with the ball at midfield, probing into space, playing the ball eventually off of Dal AC player for a throw-in. Very patient there by the center midfielder.
And you could hear one of the Stu fans here trying to get things going. Sharp there was probably thinking about going back to Nasser and then decided to kick it into touch.
I think she saw Fullerton kind of lingering back there waiting for the pass, didn't want to take the chance of getting it picked off, and just plays it out of bounds. Tommy's now moved up into the 18-yard box and try and get something on this one.
Here it is, Kenny there. It goes, bounces off her. Lothar out towards just outside in between the center field and the 18-yard box, and that rolls into Nasser, and she easily covers that one up. Definitely in terms of confidence for Summer Nasser, definitely this should be a bounce-back game, because you give up 16 goals in 2 games. Like that, averaging about 8 goals a game. It's kind of hard on a goaltender's psyche, but some of those goals, there's really nothing she could do about. So she hasn't been tested often here, but definitely good for the confidence here right now. Only really giving up 1, and it was just off the inside of the bar.
Well, we have seen, particularly, I believe it was in the Garneau game, or maybe it was the Nate game, I forget. But
they're all starting to blend in when you work so many. That's the thing, is that you've been here, and I remember what your comment that you said on your second day, that you were pretty tired coming in that morning. And they say, oh, it's not that tiring coming here and talking for like 8 to 10 hours. It's hard on the mind. Anyway,
lots of soccer that we've gotten to watch, and it really has been a pleasurable time the whole time. You didn't watch such excellent play from the Canadian women. But as I was saying, it was almost surgical, some of the attacks that these teams were mounting against the Dal AC defense and against Nasser. And I haven't quite seen that. I think a lot of that could be just a response by this Dal AC defense to dig in their heels and say, no, we're going to be strong. We're going to be very formulaic and structured in our defense, and we're not going to let teams carve us up like that again. It's all a learning experience at these tournaments. It's not just, it is quite a bit about winning, but it's winning and learning.
Yeah, and they've had a chance. Both these teams have had a learning experience, because you get to those, ACA conference out of Alberta, the Pac West out of British Columbia, and of course the gold medal is the Battle of Quebec. So those are some real tough teams, and even kind of really surprised that Algonquins. They're going to be, of course, playing for the bronze medal, but they were really good offensively this year. So to play teams like that is a challenge there, and it seems to be okay. Pushing down the player there. It was Maxwell, I believe. Here is Leach now trying to get there, and can, and it rolls into touch, and it will be St. Thomas ball as we are coming up to 37.5 minutes gone first half, and St. Thomas leading 1-0.
Classy play there by Leach, just a little bow and arrow move, plays the ball on the outside of the defender and runs on the inside. Couldn't quite get to it in the end, but a very good mind on her to make that move.
This pass a little bit out of the reach of Wiseman, so she'll have to go back to her own end. Here is Walsh now, right close to our broadcast location, trying to get a lead ball into Rankin, and a little bit too much muster on that one as it rolls in to Cronin. And now she'll stretch out the field here and take it to the far side as we come up to the 38th minute in this first half. Of course, it's a seeding game. It may mean nothing in terms of winning like a championship or a medal. It's a 7th versus 8th place game. But there's a lot on the line here, and that, as you said, St. Thomas wants to win this. They haven't been able to beat them in the regular season in their 2 previous matchups. They definitely want to, and now it's going to be a foul against the Dal AC Rams, so free kick, and it'll be taken here by Bertolin out of Riverview, New Brunswick.
Well, and I think more importantly, there's no better way to end a season than on a win. And, the last couple of days have been tough for both teams, but if they can kind of get a little bit of a cherry on top here at the end of this tournament, it can go a long way, particularly in pushing into the off season and preparing for next season. You can bet your bottom dollar that both teams, doesn't matter if they had conceded 100 goals, they would want to come back and play this tournament next year just because it's the national championship. The pride that you get just being here is more important and greater than any number of goals you could ever concede.
Yeah, like as you mentioned about next year, about potential of 5-8 Dal AC Rams not returning, and I mentioned earlier in the broadcast about 2 third-year players, 8 second-year players, and 7 first-year players. So a good majority here of St. Thomas Tommies will be back. It's just one of the faces that won't be back is Maxwell, who had the ball momentarily there. She's a 5th-year senior, and that's kicked into touch again. And it will be Leach that will take this throw in as we are past the 39.5 minute. Off the head of Rankin. Ball pops into the air and out. Another throw in here for the Rams, and nothing more they would love than to try to get one in the back of the net here before the end of the first half.
Absolutely, and I think it may be a case of they get this goal late on. It can do a lot for their morale. If they don't get it, this will now be 5 consecutive halves of soccer that they haven't been able to find the back of the net, and that just wears on you mentally. So, a very important 5 more minutes here for the Dal AC Rams.
Once again, that ball was spinning right back and wasn't as, blustery like the before the game, but that one fooled them and spun right back. Here's Rankin there and a one-on-one challenge there, and there is Roberts there, and it's going to be blown down, and a free kick here for St. Thomas.
You can only imagine that the Maritime players get a little bit more used to the wind than maybe players from other provinces. I remember the first time we went to Holland College in PEI, and our goalkeeper tried to take a goal kick, and it's almost like the ball literally stopped in midair and then came back towards the goal. Just that's how gusty it was up on the island that day. So maybe a little bit more used to this wind are these players from the Maritime provinces.
Yeah, Cronin really can't wait for the end of this first half. When they change in, she may have a little bit easier time. Here's Rankin now just outside the 18-yard box. Ooh, nice little bump there on Muse on that challenge. And rolls into touch as we're past the 41st minute. So hasn't been much in terms of injury time. It may be about 1 or 2 minutes possibly added on here to this first half. Not much in terms of injuries, as I mentioned. And another one-on-one that's kicked out of bounds. And Rams pressing once again. They have gotten it this far, but they just have not really gotten any deep. A few offsides and some strikes just outside the 18-yard box that have sailed.
And Stu really content just to sit back and defend. Kenny has been their outlet, and well done here by Kenny to get the ball, hold it up, and then get it to Vandermeulen here on offense.
Boy, you talk about they make something out of nothing. Here's Vandermeulen just outside the 18-yard box. Here it is, a foot race. Nasser coming in, a collision, and she does gather the ball. And that was a good read there by Nasser, and that's the thing that, let's, being a soccer player, talk about the goaltender, that you see something like that, and you have basically have to react quickly, and you have to make the decision and make it quickly, because if you don't, you could end up being out of position and leave a big gaping hole in the net.
Well, absolutely, and it's really one of these decisions where you have to execute it almost perfectly. Nasser, we saw well there. She came out, recognized the danger, and not only did she recognize the danger, she intervened without causing a penalty. Keep in mind, she brings Kenny down there without touching the ball, and it's a penalty shot. That ball's going on the spot, and it's one-on-one, which I think just about every time will favor the shooting team. So excellent work there by Summer Nasser to shut out the Tommies right across the face of goal.
Have a good funny story to talk about Summer Nasser. It was just after the volleyball game at Dal AC there a week ago, and the Rams soccer team was practicing, and she was walking through the halls, and it almost looked like she decided to roll through a pig pen. That's how dirty she was and mucky, because it was wet and everything. So she's not afraid to sacrifice her body. And I said to her, well, what have you been doing? And she said, well, we had soccer practice. I said, yeah, I know you've had soccer practice, but just don't get hurt is the thing that I was saying to her. So as we are coming up to close to the 44th minute, so we're getting maybe about 1 to 3 minutes left here. Once again, that ball curls. And Cronin was just happy when they switch ends in the second half. That's been probably maybe the difficulties when they've get the goal kicks. They've been kicked out of bounds, and then Dal AC gets the throw in, and they try to get an attack underway. So I think the Rams should try maybe one more effort here, because the wind definitely is in their favor for now. And when they switch ends, all of a sudden Nasser will be kicking in the wind. So it may change, maybe the story of it all here, as we are 40 seconds away here from the end of regular time. We'll see if a minute gets added on for injury time.
And you see there Cronin just electing to play it short on the ground rather than try to loft that ball in the air again. Really can't blame her based on the wind that we've seen today. And Dal AC going to try and mount one more attack here. Rankin trying to get to it.
Muse and Rankin, that has been a good one-on-one battle here, and Muse has really contained Rankin. Rankin hasn't really had a chance to get it in, crossover into the 18-yard box. Really, the thing is that for St. Thomas, they may not be happy that they've had the, play in most of their end, but they have, when it comes down to like a scoring chance, they have really, shut the door and haven't really allowed the Rams anything in terms of strong. As they are into the 45th minute, so right now we are into extra time, and there shouldn't be a lot of it, not much in terms of injuries here.
Fourth official didn't put anything up on the board. Might be because he was just too busy shagging the ball there on the sidelines.
Yep. Rams trying to strike here before the end, and you can pretty well know that if they don't here, we'll probably hear the whistle blow, as that will roll for a goal kick, and there it is. As the referee blows his whistle to end the opening first half, a goal by the St. Thomas Tommies in the 8th minute have them up 1-0 after the opening 45. And James, all of a sudden, you think that the Dal AC Rams may be getting into that. You talked about it earlier, that they may be a little bit snake bitten right now. When you're struggling in terms of getting offense, it's sort of dried off for them. They've had chances. You could talk about what you saw for the first 45 minutes and a few seconds there.
Well, it's very tough for Dal AC, because I would almost say that if St. Thomas hadn't have scored and Dal AC was up 1-0, it wouldn't be as frustrating for St. Thomas, because they haven't, except for that one scoring chance, they haven't really been close. I should say 2 chances. Dal AC has controlled the lion's share of possession. They've attacked the net. Cronin has just been a blockade in front of net for the Tommies, and really you can't help but thinking that the Dal AC Rams are asking themselves, what more can we do to put the ball in the back of the net? I'd say that the first 10 minutes coming out of the second half is going to be integral to how they respond and the trajectory of this game as a whole. They need a goal to get back in this one, and that's going to have a really big impact on their morale as a whole. St. Thomas, you can't be happier. You've kept a clean sheet, got a goal, you've got Dal AC on the back foot. Kind of just keep up what you're doing and hope that you can get out of this one with a win.
Okay, so we're going to step out here for a bit, and we should be back here with the second half in about 10 minutes. You are watching Bell 5 TV1's coverage of the 2017 CCAA Women's Nationals from Halifax, Nova Scotia, and we'll be back here in about 10. Yep. See you. In the 8th minute, as it went off the inside of the post, the referee was Johnny on the spot there to take a look at it. And meanwhile, the Rams kept on playing, but the referee said, no, it went in the net. 1-0 is where we stand after the opening 45. And of course, the teams are going to switch ends, and we saw, James, that Mary Cronin was having some difficulties with goal kicks there as the wind, of course, was going from right to left. Now she's going to have the wind, so now it's Summer Nasser that has to fight the wind, and I think that was a little bit of the story of the first half is all of a sudden the goal kicks, they haven't been able to get it past the center of the pitch there. So this should be interesting to see if Nasser has the same struggles as Cronin did in the first half.
Absolutely, it'll be if you're Dal AC, you're hoping for a tale of two halves. St. Thomas is hoping to hold on to the 1-0 lead, maybe expand a little bit. I was outside the bus for the Remembrance Day celebration, or I guess commemoration we had just a couple moments ago. Both teams coming to midfield. The visiting Algonquin Thunder preparing for next game. We're down at the end line, and Neil Hooper delivered a very moving speech there about Remembrance Day, and we enjoyed a nice moment of silence there. So anyone who was looking at the live stream, wonder what was going on, just remember the honoring of the 11th hour of the 11th day of the 11th month, and really honoring all of Canadians, veterans, past, present.
Great thing done here by the ACAA and CCAA, and really pretty well in perfect time, to go along with the ceremonies that, of course, will be taking place throughout Canada right now, Atlantic Canada to be exact. As this one, we're all into Nasser there, and she'll now try to go to the far side here. And she wasn't very busy there in that first half, but St. Thomas, well, they got a good offensive possession going early in that first half and were able to come up with the goal. And now, of course, the St. Thomas Towies will now be going right to left, and the Rams will go left to right. And so they'll be kicking into the wind, as we mentioned there, off the top there. So a little bit of scramble play. Sorry, James.
I'm just looking at that corner flag on the far left-hand side, and it really is bending almost, at a 45-degree angle when the wind gusts. Not going to be easy to move the ball through the air for either team, I'd say, at this point.
Yeah, it was relatively quiet there. That's an excellent point. Relatively quiet there in that first half. It's going right back to where it was before and during warm-ups and the pregame. And as soon as I say that, it sort of just dies down just a little bit. But usually that corner flag really, is doing a lot of bending here. And St. Thomas now here trying to strengthen and have a little bit of insurance. They're going to go back with it. This is Roberts now. Oh, this is a nice little move to get away from Walsh. Roberts there, pass picked off, as Wiseman was there for the Dal AC Rams.
And that's
Walsh.
A real indicator. Walsh moved way up the pitch, almost as a center attacking mid. We have not seen her that advanced yet this tournament. Shows Dal AC's intentions here in the early second half. Really want to get on the board early.
Well, I mean, the thing is, for Jackie Ryan, I imagine she just probably said, continue what you're doing. You're going to be rewarded. And for St. Thomas, it was more probably, well, maybe we should try to, maybe not be on our heels as much. But, I mean, that's all credit due to a well-played Dal AC performance. But once again, there's that strike that goes wide. And here's Cronin's first kick with the wind. And as you see, it makes a little bit of a better difference because earlier that was spinning back. That didn't spin back this time.
Absolutely not. It does seem that the left to right is a little bit more favored than the right to left. Although a little mental lapse there by the Stu defense to give away the throw-in. Here's Dal AC right on the 18-yard box.
Yeah, but unable to get there. Was Lothar there for the Dal AC Rams. Here's Rankin now, just outside the box. And a little bit of a knuckler, and Cronin comes out to get it. Rankin not really the strongest of strikes that time, but I think she probably looked up and it was well defended and didn't get as much time as she'd like to get that kick off here. There's a little of a worm burner there, or a shank there by Cronin as it's back out to the midfield pitch. Sharp there. lead ball, trying to hit Rankin, and that's headed out of the way there by Boucher, or pardon me, Muse there for St. Thomas. That was an excellent matchup in the first half. Of course, Muse on Rankin, the top goal scorer here for the Dal AC Rams in the regular season, and really didn't get much in terms of chances, so the challenge is definitely in favor of Muse on the one-on-one there, as that one will go into touch again, and St. Thomas will try to get things going just in the opening minute and a half here of the second half. Alongside James Wise, my name is Dan Hobson and the Bell 5 TV1 crew here at the CCAA Women's Soccer Nationals.
Looks like Dal AC is just trying to pick up where they left off. A lot of energy coming out of the girls in white here, trying to push high up the pitch against this astute defense. Hasn't paid dividends on goal yet, but they're definitely enjoying the larger share of possession and control of this game. Just haven't found the back of the net.
Good challenge there, and St. Thomas will get it back out to the midfield. Walsh up there, also Cox there for the St. Thomas Tommies. There's a little bit of a substitution. And of course, one of the things going forward is, keep an eye. Of course, McCartney was taken off a substitution for St. Thomas, their top goal scorer in the regular season. So that's a thing that as you say for the Dal AC Rams, that they are pretty happy about. I wouldn't say happy about, but I guess the word would be something less to be really concerned about is McCartney, because this team is they only usually score about 1 goal a game, and the heavier offensive weapon there may not be back here for the rest of this one. That's something that maybe have the Rams breathing a little bit easier. In the meantime, here they go. They'll try to spring Rankin here along the wing, and she does. Watched by Muse, makes a nice little crossover move. Rankin, that's probably been her best opportunity inside the 18-yard box, and Leach doesn't get a solid foot on that one, but Rankin that's about as much offensive chances as she had. She made a nice little crossover move on Muse and got the chance to get it into the 18-yard box, but Leach just couldn't get a good solid footing on it.
It looked as though she was trying to bend that in around that back post, maybe just mishit it. Leach there to recover, couldn't quite go the way of the Rams there, but an excellent offensive possession for the girls in white.
Sharp with the big ball, and you can see that wind is spinning it back and towards the Rams, who are going, of course, now from left to right on your screen. Maxwell, she's hoping to try to get something done, and she's now slowly gets up, and that's rolled into touch there by Woodward, and it'll be St. Thomas to throw in.
You talked about what the effect of not having, name goes right. I'm having Nikita McCartney on the field for the Tommies has been. I think what we've seen so far is they just haven't had as good a hold-up play and have struggled a lot more to get the ball from the defense up through the midfield into their strikers. McCartney, of course, can check back into that area between the strikers and midfield, get the ball, turn, run with it, pick a pass. Someone else on this Tommy side is really going to need to step up if they're going to want to have another chance to score a goal.
Trying to spring open Kenny and into touch again off a Sharp, and St. Thomas now getting some good offense, getting an offensive chance here now. This will be Muse out of Cole Harbour, Nova Scotia, just down the road here from the mainland all-surface, all-weather field. And that was a little bit too far. Actually, trying to go up there was Bertol, and they're trying to knock it down with her foot. And rolls out. This will be another Dal AC throw-in. And Dal AC Rams trying to quicken the pace here. That throws a little bit too far, so it's going to be a foot race, and Muse is back there. Rankin also will come up with it on the challenge. They're trying to cross, and a nice piece of work there by Muse. I've been impressed with her as she went down there as Rankin was trying to get the cross, but Muse denied it for the meantime, but it's going to result in a corner kick for the Dal AC Rams. Muse has just been fantastic covering Rankin here in this one-on-one battle there. That's been, entertaining to see. Here is Walsh now, tries to drop it back. Here is Maxwell. Maxwell with the cross, and goes over everybody as right there along the post there was Leach there. Here's a second chance. It's in the box there. And it's Cronin out of position, but kicked out of harm's way for the meantime. So this has been the best pressure that the Rams have had. They've had pressure in the first half, and this has been they're almost close to knocking on the door and trying to even this at 1, James.
St. Thomas definitely playing with fire here in the first and second half. This is the third or fourth time we've seen, Cronin maybe getting a little bit out of position, and the ball just, rifling around in the 6-yard box, only to be cleared by a green jersey. Dal AC, like you said, knocking on the door. They've just been hammering the 18-yard box of St. Thomas. Started in the second half, and they certainly aren't letting up here early on in the first, started in the first half, and they certainly aren't letting up early on in the second.
St. Thomas with possession here. Now they'll go back. Here is Boucher out of Fredericton, New Brunswick, playing for the hometown university here. And now Walsh has it there. Here is Rankin. She's had a chance. She's had her chances there just a couple seconds ago, trying to spring her open. Now Rankin has a little bit of room. She's coming in. She's into the 18-yard box. Centering pass right onto the foot. There's a shot there by Maxwell. It goes wide. And that was the best chance that the Rams had. A nice little rush there by Rankin. She hasn't been open and hasn't really been able to get anything going in the first half, but she's had a couple of bursts here so far in the second. And Maxwell, if she had maybe a couple of seconds more with the good strike, could have been tying this up at 1. But nice little rush by Rankin, and Maxwell just off the foot there. So goal kick for St. Thomas.
It was a good move by Maxwell, just senses the pressure from the defender, turns away, and laces the ball first time. Didn't quite get the contact she wanted, but promising attacks here early on by the Dal AC Rams, not letting up one bit.
10 minutes gone here in the second half. St. Thomas still holding on to this 1-0 lead. There's a centering pass that will get by everybody, roll towards the goal line, and be a goal kick here as Summer Nasser will take it, the Toronto, Ontario native. And we have a substitution here for the Dal AC Rams, as Leach is going to be going off. And coming on, Janessa Rathgeber out of Truro. Playing, of course, for the local university. The local product will come in here.
And there we saw it, that we talked in the first half about how taking goal kicks from this right end line is going to be difficult, and that one drifting out of bounds for Sharp and Dal AC. Throw here for the Tommies.
Well, this is an advantage Tommies, because it's going to be really up to the Rams to try to push it to get it out of there, because goal kicks here for Summer Nasser and the Rams are not going to be easy, as we have a whistle and we have injured players, and I think it is Maxwell, but I'm not going to.
Don't believe it's Maxwell. Maxwell's 7. It looked like it might have been 12.
Dino, that would yeah. I see Maxwell there with the pink shoes there towards the center of the pitch. So hard to see numbers when they're bent over like that, but
she's just getting some attention from the medical staff. Looks like having a conversation.
Yeah, and I will get a chance to see the number. And good eyes there, as you got that one. It is Dino, number 12. And she's going to walk it off there, get a little bit of help there from medical staff. And
they've had a good policy. As a player, I would find
actually
it obnoxious.
She's going to stay. Yeah, she's going to try to stay on.
Oh, is she? Oh, no, I think the referee, the policy is if you go down and they have to stop the game, you must go to the sidelines. Like I said, as a player, I'm sure that's very frustrating. But from a medical perspective, it's just always better to take care and make sure that you get taken care of by the staff there. And when they're 100% sure you're ready to go, welcome back to the pitch.
Yeah, look at that. Just run up and check in, and back we go, and plays back underway, and St. Thomas will send it back to Cronin, and she'll kick it up towards the middle of the pitch there, and up there's Cox there for St. Thomas, and deflects off of Dal AC Ram player, and quickly thrown in here by St. Thomas as we were coming up to the 58th minute here. 13 minutes gone here in the second half. And once again, the Rams pressing here. They've had a good couple of possessions here. They've just been unable to get a good solid shot towards Cronin. And the St. Thomas Tommies that have made the trek down from Fredericton here, trying to get behind them here and making some noise here at Mainland.
When you can't help think, every minute that Stu holds on to this 1-0 lead, they're gaining confidence and, positivity, thinking they can just hold on. Minutes are starting to tick off the clock, and Dal AC, they've thrown everything but the kitchen sink at the goal so far, but nothing seems to go through. Maybe getting a little bit more desperate and anxious as the clock ticks down.
Well, you made a point about in the first half. We talked about the lack of offense and the offense struggling here for Dal AC, and that all of a sudden you start second guessing things that you normally would do when you're within striking distance or in a scoring area, and all of a sudden you're thinking, well, what you usually do is not working. Maybe I have to come up with a second or third guess here, and it's all of a sudden a physical problem ends up becoming a psychological problem.
Absolutely. Keeping your cool in this situation, as a Dal AC player, you've got to think, we've scored goals all season using a certain strategy, a certain passing method, a certain, method of movement up top. Now is not the time to necessarily change that. 85th minute, maybe pump some more people forward. There's plenty of time on the clock. Just keep working within your system, and sooner or later, you have to think that it's going to work.
Rankin, she has been all over the pitch here in this second half, but that pass right onto the foot of Muse and back out to the center of the pitch there. And St. Thomas trying to transition in offense to get the attack going. There's a lead ball there put up by Hickman. Hickman, of course, usually wearing number 17, wearing 14 at a middle Sackville. She has a goal this season. And so if some of the St. Thomas Tommy fans watching from Fredericton, she's wearing number 14 instead of her usual 17 here in this final match of the season. Rolls into touch, another throw for Dal AC Rams. And Muse, as I said, I've been impressed with her. Heads it out of bounds on another throw coming up here for Dal AC Rams. And once again, Rankin trying to get there. Nice little feet work there by Maxwell there along the sidelines. She was thinking about going and playing herself, but ended up being called off by her teammate Woodward. Woodward trying to get it to Rankin, and once again, Muse really has contained Rankin, has only given Rankin maybe a couple of good, strong chances and a good rush so far. Let's see what Rankin's got going now. Quick pass inside. Maxwell deflects off of a Stu defender and rolls right in to Cronin.
Stu growing a little bit more in this game. You see they're playing heavily defensive, 2 banks of 4 with kind of a striker and a higher attacking midfielder. Very defensive, not taking too many chances. Dal AC setting up in a much more offensive mind. It looks like they've got 5 in the attacking third of their attacking half of the field right now, sitting 2 center backs and then kind of a midfield 5 with 2 strikers. Or 3 strikers, rather, pardon me.
Here's Walsh there, spins away. Nice little heel move there, but St. Thomas clears it to the middle of the pitch here for the meantime. Almost a collision between a couple of St. Thomas players. Here's Muse now. We'll get it out. All the Rams back there. It goes off the foot of Langell. Right inside the circle there of the midfield stripe. Boucher now tries to get a lead ball there. A little bit too far for Kenny. And Sharp will go back with it. She has some time and some room as we're coming up to the 62nd minute here of the match. 1-0 St. Thomas scoring in that 8th minute. And they have, as James has said, they have held the attack here as this rolls in on Nasser, and she'll just gather it up as right there was Hickman right on the doorstep. Maybe looking for a little bit of a bobble there out of Nasser, but none came.
I think the wind may have actually helped.
Oh, there's a nice little bump there, and play is allowed to continue on. It also gives a little bit of room here for Maxwell here along the outside, and well defended there by Hughes out of Fredericton.
I think the wind may have actually helped Nasser there, blow the ball a little bit in more towards goal, away from the run of Hickman. And Dal AC now back in the attacking third with a good throw-in.
Well, you just made an excellent point. Is like all of a sudden the goaltender's going for the ball, and then the wind, gets it. Here's a strike by Walsh, and right there, right on Cronin. And Cronin has had some saves that she has really not had to move, and she's been in the right position. And then she just basically stood there and was like a can of corn. You knock the can of corn off the top of the grocery shelves to make the catch. That's what it was there for Cronin. Didn't have to move. And you're going to stop those ones.
Can't blame Walsh for taking that shot, though. We've seen her do some impressive things with her right foot. None of them have come off so far this afternoon, but really, if you're a Dal AC player, you just got to keep trying. You just got to keep shooting balls in at the net and hope that sooner or later Cronin's going to misread one, the wind's going to take one, there's going to be a lucky bounce. Just got to keep working with the system you've got.
Yeah, we've seen this as that sometimes the Sharp will take the goal kicks here. So, and we saw that earlier in the tournament, and once again, that's the case in point. Kind of figured maybe you just, if you're having difficulty kicking in the wind, why not just kick it up just a little 3-foot pass to your defender and then just roll it out to try to get something going rather than try to kick it in the air. Is that a good play to make, maybe possibly if you're against the wind like the Rams are?
Keeping it on when windy games, coaches typically try to tell you just keep the ball on the deck, move it around fluidly there. It's a lot safer, and looks like we'll have a substitution for St. Thomas here.
Yeah, this is good news as McCartney will come back in for McDermott.
Good news for St. Thomas. I'd say not the best news if you're a Dal AC Ram. Good to see McCartney, though, coming back in, knowing that injury or whatever was plaguing her is not too serious.
Yeah, well, she hit the field pretty hard twice in that first half, and it's good to see her back. Anyway, you can finish your point there, my friend.
When like I said, keeping the ball on the deck, so the wind just affects it less. It's a little bit more secure way of playing, and I think that's what we've seen. Teams like Garneau, teams like Champlain are very, very good at moving the ball around the pitch, on the ground, swinging it right to left to right, through the midfield, through the defense, just kind of probing at their opposition defense to find exploit some space. And here's Maxwell.
20 minutes here have gone, and as you mentioned, rolls right on Cronin, and she'll hit the dirt to come up with it.
Maxwell's had several good opportunities here in the second half.
Yeah, there's nothing more she'd like to do than get a goal and get a win in her last game. That's booted there by Sharp towards the sideline. Here's a foot race. Once again, Muse and Rankin get together, and Rankin, a little bit of luck to come up with the ball, but right back there was Bertolin for the St. Thomas Tommies. Rankin can't get there to save it and keep it alive for Dal AC, so into touch it goes, and referee blows his whistle. Of course, the officials here for the game has been Scott Decker, Ben Huskins, Will Hall, and Robbie Brown.
Looks like number 16, Bertolin for St. Thomas, heading over to the sideline for just a quick second. Must have been some type of apparel change. Nothing too serious, but the referee wanted her to get something checked out. She'll return quickly.
And she does. She comes right into your picture right now, and
kind of confusing as to whose ball it is. No one's stepping up to take the throw, and finally it'll be Woodward for Dal AC that'll come and retrieve. And then they say, nope, it's actually a St. Thomas throw.
I was thinking that it was kicked out there by the Dal AC Ram player, and they tried to keep it alive and couldn't. And you could probably also hear that the microphones were picking up that the St. Thomas Tommies fans are thinking, whoa, what's going on here? Something change? In the meantime, throw-in here by Muse, and she puts a little bit of mustard on that one. She goes for a good 5-yard rush before throwing it in, and Rankin trying to keep it alive and can't.
All right, I'm going to go out on a limb here. I'm watching Bertolin as she's come back in. Don't hold me to this, but I think that she may have had a tooth get knocked out.
Ooh, dental plan.
It may have just gone over, handed the tooth over to someone on the sidelines and trotted back in. It just looks like on the right side of her smile, there's a little bit of a gape there. Like I said, don't hold me to that. It may just be bad vision. I'm looking at a tooth from about 25 yards. Either way, it's good to see her back after that quick change. And here's St. Thomas in the midfield trying to get something going on offense.
Vanderbilt in there, and that's snuffed out there by the Rams momentarily. There's an errant pass that's picked off and brought back out to the center of the pitch there, spinning around. Boucher there for St. Thomas along the sideline, being bothered there by Wiseman. And it will be the Rams that will break 3 wide. Can they get things going? No, it's going to go a little bit too far, and this will allow Bertolin, who's, based upon what my broadcast colleague says, may not be winning too many beauty pageants for the next little bit there. She gets that one replaced as that rolls into touch.
Like I said, don't hold me to that. I want to make sure that is That is only a hypothesis, a hunch that I may have gathered. And quickly this will go back St. Thomas's way. St. Thomas offense starting to get, the ball rolling here in the second half. We're about 20 minutes in, a little bit over, 23 or 24 to be exact.
Here's they'll try to get things going here once again and bring it back into the Dalhousie Ram zone. They're trying to get a lead pass up the head to Hickman, and Sharp right there. But she'll turn it over, but it goes off the foot of Hickman, and it will be Rams' ball.
Good second chance play there by Hickman. Lost the ball, goes right back at it, turns it around and forces the Dalhousie to come back with a throw.
Rankin turns on the Jets with a lead ball there, trying to break Maxwell loose. Maxwell guarded there by Roberts, gets to the outside, spins around. Nice one-on-one here. You can see the battle, and it's going to be called for the tackle there and the foul there against Roberts, Kaylee Roberts of Moncton. Everything was good right up until the end, until she got her arm right around Maxwell and brought her down.
Maxwell essentially has a corner here. That'll be just humped away by Bertolin.
Rams once again within striking distance here. They have been here a lot in this match, but they have not been rewarded in terms of getting anything back in the net. Just outside the 18 box, Maxwell with the cross, and once again St. Thomas snuffs it out. Maxwell will get a second chance. We'll go back now. Here's Woodward now, the American, with the kick from well outside the box, and not really that much danger. And then this one will roll into Cronin here, and she'll settle things down as we are into the 70th minute.
Walsh with that shot there, just didn't quite get the connection she wanted on the half volley. Took it with the inside of her foot, just kind of a little bit over top of it and hit the ball top spin into the ground. And here's Kenny off to the races, maybe.
Yeah, and a foot just in time there by Dino out of Westville, Nova Scotia. Puts it into touch again, and a good transition here for St. Thomas. You have to be impressed so far that they are, their passing has been pretty good, breaking out of their own zone and quickly getting an offensive chance. That was pretty quickly done there by the team out of Fredericton, New Brunswick. Inside the 18-yard box, momentarily kicked out for the meantime there by Woodworth. Here's Walsh now trying to break the Dalhousie Rams with Wiseman there. Wiseman trying to get it up here. Once again, that's going to be stopped there by Roberts. She has been fantastic, but it goes into touch, and Rams just quickly trying to get the pace quickened up here, knowing that, offensive chances, they have had plenty, haven't been able to really get a good one. So they are quickly on these throw-ins, getting it in and try to, catch the Tommies napping, but the Tommies are well back defending, and this one will actually be a throw-in here for St. Thomas that goes off the foot of Walsh.
Well, as you were mentioning earlier, it's this strategy that St. Thomas has adopted, and I think it's really them learning who they are as a soccer team, particularly in this tournament, where they have to be very, very stubborn on defense, very, very, steel-nosed on defense, and then when given the opportunity to kind of break out on the counterattack with a fast break, they have to be able to take advantage, and they've been very patient. They haven't tried to launch counterattacks when they weren't on. They've been very patient in that regard, and we have seen success when they do try to break on offense. Looks like there's a change there. That's the
Rathgeber for Leach. So Leach back in for the Dalhousie Rams.
And just under 20 minutes now left in this one. Dalhousie still searching for their first goal of this tournament, and that'll carry out of bounds, I believe, thought it was going to be a corner, but it will be a St. Thomas goal kick.
Well, it was a 1-on-2. All of a sudden, St. Thomas sort of collapsed there. Maxwell really just ran out of room and didn't really have much in terms of a scoring chance there. Rolls out, as you mentioned, goal kick, and Cronin was doing that a lot in the first half. You could blame the wind, but she put it right onto a Rams defender. Leach just back into the game here for the Rams. Rankin now. Now Walsh. Walsh with a little bit of room, and a nice arm save by Cronin.
Good left foot shot there by Walsh. Looks like she was going on the upper corner of the near post. We knew that she could, she can make magic with both feet now offensively, even though she's primarily a defender. Unlucky there by number 4 in white, but she will earn her team a corner. Looks like we'll have a substitution coming
Cox,
in here.
which started this second half, is going to go off, and Dominique Bourque out of Dieppe will be in, so 22 for 5. Probably a move here, maybe trying to put a little bit more in terms of defenders on here, because once again, Rams are pressing here. They'll get another corner kick. In the meantime, as Bourque comes in, she's settled, ready to play. Referee blows things in. Maxwell to take the corner.
Walsh gave the short option. Maxwell elected to go into the middle with it.
Here's a foot race, and unable to get there in time was Woodward there, but Rams have it. Walsh, who had that close chance just a couple seconds ago. Maxwell with the cross. Rankin trying to hit it.
Looks like they'll go in the side netting.
Side netting, yes.
A lot of people saw that that mesh ruffle there, thought it might have gone in, but Cronin marshaled the line well, sheltered it out of bounds.
Into the 74th minute.
This Rams press really coming on hard. Saw Rankin almost winning the ball there off the press, and it looks like Cronin will take no chances and punt this one away. Get it far downfield away from her goal.
And I bet she's probably saying in my head, yay, I got it over past the pitch, because that's something that she had difficulty doing in the first half. Of course, the wind have been a factor in that category here for the goaltenders.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, you consider that punt went, at least 45 yards, maybe even as many as 60. And the ones that she was taking in the the first half were going out of bounds, 10 yards beyond her 18-yard box. It's a big difference when you factor in the wind.
They go back to Cronin, who just came outside the 18-yard box and boots it back to the middle of the pitch. St. Thomas here trying to get something going here in their own zone. Into the 75th minute, so 15 minutes left to go here for the Rams. They're trying to get a lead ball into Rankin. Muse once again there as Maxwell hits the dirt there for the Dal AC Rams. Here's Walsh now with a burst of speed, but kicked out of harm's way and back down into the Rams zone. Sharp out of Lower Mill Stream, New Brunswick.
Walsh wanted a call there, thought that she'd been clipped as she dribbled through. Referee not going to the whistle, and now it'll be a St. Thomas through ball here.
Muse running up there, trying to get a lead pass up there, but Rams well back, well defending. There's a challenge there, won there by Woodward. And following up, here is Hughes. Also in the area there is Hickman there, and they'll go back the other way. Here's Boucher. Boucher being bothered there by Leach, trying to spin away, but it will be Walsh that will get things going here for the Dal AC Rams. Inside pass. Maxwell now just outside the 18-yard box of a cross to Rankin, and that's a little bit too far.
She'll be flagged
off
offside,
anyways. Yeah. That's you said this is be about the 4th or 5th offside there for the Dal AC Rams, and you said that's a good problem to have, but in the meantime, it's going to result in a goal kick here for the Tommies.
Under 15 now to go here in the second half. Time really starting to tick down. Oh, and here we'd done such a good job of telling how Mary Cronin was keeping the ball on the goal kicks and hadn't gone out of bounds. That one gets picked up by the wind as well, it would seem. Drifts out around the 35-yard mark.
It almost, I'd almost have to say, by looking at her, I'm not sure if she intentionally meant to do that, but it almost looked as if she did, because there was no Tommy players in the area. It was just a wide opening on the field. We'll see if it helps or hinders them. We'll have to wait and see. In the meantime, it's back out in the midfield there. And Kenny now with a burst of speed there. And Langell there impedes that there for the St. Thomas Tommies. Here's a lead ball there by Hickman there, trying to break loose McCartney, who was a little bit of a watcher here in the second half, has come back in. And of course she was, as James and I have mentioned, injured there a couple of times, hit the field really hard and was, favoring an ankle, but she's back in, and to the pleasure of the St. Thomas Tommies watching online, and the ones that have made the trip here to Halifax to watch in the stands and bundled up for this one. Maxwell now trying to break Rankin open, and does. Rankin now will, with a nice little toe pass there to Maxwell here along the outside, as they'll try to get Rankin inside. Oh, a little crossover Muse into the 18-yard box, and that's out of harm's way for the meantime, and rolls into touch.
Dal AC really starting to put on the pressure and turn the screws offensively. You wonder just how long the St. Thomas defense is going to be able to hold up through all this pressure that's being applied by Dal AC. But
strike there by Langell. Doesn't have a lot on it and bounces in towards Cronin. Into the 78th minute.
And Cronin contender, I think, just to put the ball long. Just a little bit over 10 minutes to go plus stoppage time.
And once again, the St. Thomas Tommies fans trying to rally behind the team here. And Halifax as that rolls into touch and another St. Thomas throw in. Here is Roberts. She's been spectacular playing defense as well as Muse out here. And they'll try to break loose Vandermeulen out of Prince Edward Island.
I mean, this will really be a testament to St. Thomas's defense, being able to, they will have defended for 82 consecutive minutes. And that's a long time to play on the back foot and defend. Excellent work by the Tommies in green here. Dal AC, no discredit to them. They've done everything they can just about, just taking shots at this at the St. Thomas defense. And here's another one. Maxwell trying to get through, but it'll get flagged back on a free kick. It looks like they were going to try and play advantage off the foul, but Maxwell not getting there will get called back for a free kick.
Yeah, that was once again Rankin, and pretty well her best friend in this matchup has been Muse. They've been getting close and getting acquainted with each other there, and that's resulted in the free kick here. It will be Woodward that will take it for the Dal AC Rams, just about a couple feet past the center field area. A bit of a short kick. Trying to come up there was Lothar there for the Dal AC Rams. There's Wiseman now. So you get to this sort of stage, James. When do you, all of a sudden you're the Dal AC Rams. When do you start, get to that point where you're going to have to start to, as I like to say, take a chance to give yourself more of a chance here. Well, when you get to that stage of this game.
Well, the good thing in Dal AC's corner right now is we've seen that St. Thomas hasn't been spectacular going forward. They can get out in transition, but only when they kind of win the ball in the midfield. I'd say if I was, on the Dal AC coaching staff, every corner and every free kick I'd be putting 9 bodies in the box, maybe leaving one defender back. We know that number 1 in white, Sharp, has got a good, burst of pace that cut off a counterattack. But other than that, you got to fill the 18-yard box with bodies, try and get something going. Every corner I'd bring everyone up that you can. We've seen in the past, teams have brought up the goalkeeper in the 89th, 90th minute just to have an extra attacker in the attacking third. Possibly we could see that here from Nasser.
Nasser putting on the Jets here inside the 18-yard box. Kicks it up, and right now it was a good time to do that. The wind wasn't blowing, and just as soon as she lets it out of her foot, it starts going almost like crosswise, going from sideline to sideline. Here's Rankin now. Lead pass up ahead, snuffed out there by the Tommies, and Woodworth just looks at the ball roll into touch as we are coming up to the 82nd minute, pardon me. So time starting. Woo, there was a rough play there, and Loader, they're going to be called for the foul. Free kick here for St. Thomas.
And that's a type of mistake that Dal AC cannot afford to give up right now. You're stopping the ball. You're giving St. Thomas an opportunity to slow down the clock. They can pump this ball just about wherever they want. They're probably going to go for the corner flag and try and seal it a little bit. May go for goal just so they can maybe get a second goal, which would really be a nail in the coffin. From a score perspective, and I'd say just morally or morale-wise for this Dal AC offense.
Woodworth now. Rankin has time, and now she'll get the pass. Maxwell with the pink shoes trying to break Rankin here along the outside. Rankin, nice little move, but Roberts right there to kick it out of harm's way for the meantime. So it's about in between the center and the 18-yard box. Once again, Maxwell settles it down. Rankin open, but little miscommunication there, and it's going to be a goal kick as they were trying to spring Rankin open, and she was open, but the pass a little bit too far out of her reach.
And if you're St. Thomas, time cannot move quick enough for you in these last couple. You're going to see Cronin probably try to clip this long, just get it way out of the defensive third of St. Thomas. And if they can keep pushing Dal AC back, all the better.
Yep, less than 7 minutes to go. And of course, that's also, we'll have to add a little bit of injury time, but it's not going to be much. There haven't been really much in terms of injuries, just one here so far. So the thing is, the Rams are running out of time here from mainland all-weather surface field in Halifax, Nova Scotia, the CCAA Women's Nationals. And of course, some of the soccer careers are going to be coming to an end. Definitely Shanice Maxwell, a fifth-year student, and possibly fourth-year student. Summer Nasser, who of course playing goal, and Cora Sharp is a fourth-year student. And one of the other fourth-year students not in the lineup as a result of a concussion is Morgan Prisk out of New Glasgow. So their soccer careers about 6 minutes and change away from their Dal AC soccer careers coming to an end here, and right now losing note, but they're still some time left, but it's running out here on the Dal AC Rams. This is into touch again and for St. Thomas, and I've been really impressed by Muse's play here. She has been pretty well stuck to Rankin, just like glue, and Rankin really hasn't had much in terms of getting anything of dangerous scoring chances, maybe about a couple, but that's about it.
You mentioned Morgan Prisk there. I had the privilege of watching her play earlier on this tournament, and she really did leave quite an impression. Very unfortunate, going down with the concussion. We never like to hear that from our players, that they've had to step out for that type of injury, and we wish her all the best in her recovery.
Yep. 5 minutes to go here. St. Thomas Tommies are just that close to doing something they haven't been able to do in the regular season, and that's get a victory over the Dal AC Rams. And, for the Dal AC Rams, if they don't seem to get a goal here, what a way to, have such a, great season, win the regular season. They were built here knowing that they were going to be, along with the University of King's College Blue Devils, co-hosting the Nationals, trying to build a solid program to compete here. And to go 0 for 3, was definitely kind of a disappointing note, and disappointing for, of course, some of these fourth and fifth year students. I don't want to use the term rebuild because, that's, a little bit of an ugly word. But, when you have 5 players that could possibly not be back, they definitely were built for this. And, sometimes you run into tough competition, a tough draw, and that seems to be what has happened here as Langell trying to bump, hits it off her head. There's a strike from well out that goes wide and bounces of the net, wide of the net, as we're with less than 4 minutes to go with change. And you could see that Nasser says, I'm not going to do any goal kicks. We'll let you guys do the work here. As Wiseman now, nice little move, and a little bit of frustration shown by the St. Thomas player at the end. They got Sharp up here, so they're, as you said, they're going to try to take some chances here. Sharp, who usually plays a little bit of defender role, up here now for the Dal AC Rams, trying to get the equalizer here as time is starting to run out. We were almost like less than 3.5 left here, and of course that's stoppage time. So, as you say, keep an eye on Nazareth. Rankin, who has been a little bit quiet, she's had a chance here in the second half, has a little bit of burst of speed, but once again, Muse right there kicks it into touch, and actually hits a Rams defender. So it's going to be.
It took a deflection off Rankin there and headed out of bounds. So it will be a St. Thomas throw.
Yes.
Talking earlier, and I think a lot of this, it's just I got to watch Dal AC play several times during the regular season, and it's almost like they peaked a little early, and it's all kind of come apart for them since the ACAA tournament. And as you said, they were kind of built for this type of tournament, and a little bit of bad luck, I think, coming their way. And sometimes you just get the rough draw in sports, and that's kind of the way it goes. I think all of them will cherish, both teams actually will cherish some memories of this tournament. Nationals are a special thing no matter how you finish. And like I said, there's a reason the banquet is on day 1 and not on day 5.
Yeah. Rankin there thought she was fouled there, got a foul, and that Muse should have been fingered for it in a free kick, as she had a couple of words after the play. But in the meantime, play continues on, and we are into the 88th minute. So, it's do or die time right now. Pretty well here for the Rams. Got a strike here.
And if the Rams do manage to get a goal here late on, we will head directly to penalties. No added time or extra time or overtime periods, rather, to be played here in this match or in the match to follow. In the bronze and gold medal matches, if there is a tie after 90 minutes, we will play 2 30 or 15-minute halves, and then we'll head to the penalty spots.
So it's going to definitely, for those gold and bronze, a war of attrition if they're still tied after regulation. We are 15 seconds away from the 1 minute to go here, and St. Thomas would be just happy to keep it here around midfield and make sure that the Rams don't get really anything in terms of a scoring chance. And Rams may have one final attack here. Here is Walsh now, puts the brakes on, stutter steps. We'll send it back, and it's into touch, and another throw in here, and you can see Rams quickly working as Wiseman will hand it off to Leach, and Leach will throw it in. Once again to Walsh. Roberts and Walsh come together. They're just outside the 18 box. There's the cross. Rankin and the goaltender Cronin collide. Loose ball that rolls just wide of the net.
Looks like Maxwell had tried to catch it on the half volley, swung a little high or low, didn't quite get the contact she wanted. Ball just rifling around in that 6 and 18-yard box, and it will be a Dal AC corner.
20 seconds to go, and of course there'll be added time possibly here, but this is the best chance. Nasser coming out just a little bit there. She's just outside the 18-yard box.
And looks like Cronin will just palm that one away out for another corner. Fourth official now going to the board. There will be 2 minutes of injury time added to be tacked on to the end of this one.
So all hands on deck as Nasser's right close to the center field area in the box. Wood shot there by Maxwell as she doesn't get all of it, and it rolls out. A little bit of a knuckler there. Dino trying to get things going here. Leach up there. There's a pass there for Walsh. Can she get there in time? There's the cross by Walsh and Cronin and Lothar.
Lothar looks like she'll bump into Cronin a little bit late there.
Collided, yes.
The foul will go the way of the Tommies. Now I'd say less than right around a minute, maybe a little bit more left, and Cronin taking her time on this free kick rather. She'll pump it long, no doubt, and just try and hold off the Rams offense for a little bit longer.
Once again, Nasser goes back into the net there for Dal AC. There's an errant pass, puts it right on to the wrong person. McCartney had it momentarily. Now the Rams are going to have to work quickly. It's at 2 minutes of extra time, and we're probably past the 1 minute of that. So one final chance here for Dal to try to tie this. And there's a throw that goes a little bit too far. Roberts back there, and she'll just kick it into touch, and they'll get a reset here. Rams once again there. There's the cross there by Sharp, and right there was Lothar. Here's Rankin. Rankin trying to strike, and right there was denied there by Hughes. That's a big one there. She had some real estate for the meantime. Back out it goes into the Rams zone and into touch again. Everybody keeping an eye, and you can probably hear a little bit of cheers there from some of the fans here.
The referee's looking at his watch there. Might be reaching for the whistle. Can't quite tell yet if it's in his...
And they'll actually be St. Thomas into touch here, so. And you could hear the Tommies fans starting to make some noise and pound the drums. Yeah, as you can say, let's go Stu. One more chance here. Can they break Rankin? Rankin has a little bit of room. Rankin inside the 18-yard box. There's a strike and the save by Cronin, and it just off the fingertips and goes just a couple of centimeters wide, but that was a good chance there by Rankin.
And here's Nasser coming all the way up. Nothing left to lose here for Dal AC. Might as well bring her up.
Yeah, she could see her. She's in that green jersey there. There is the corner kick. Sharp up there. Rankin trying to strike, but that's blocked there. And back out it goes. And there's the whistle to indicate this one is over. The Dal AC Rams see their season come to an end, as well as St. Thomas Tommies, but the Tommies will now have a little bit of bragging rights and a little bit of confidence. 1-0, a goal in the 8th minute off the inside of the post, and they bent but don't break the St. Thomas Tommies, and you could hear the celebration by the Tommies fans. And James, good finish there. Really some excitement there out of Dal AC, but all of a sudden, you say, when you're hot, you're hot. Some of those chances at Dal AC, if they were playing really hot soccer, would be in, but of course, all of a sudden you're into a cold stretch, and you don't seem to get a break.
No, this is going to be a hard pill to swallow for sure by Dal AC. I think they had high hopes going into the ACAA tournament. Didn't quite come off the way they wanted. They kind of got a pick-me-up coming into nationals, and as we saw with the 3 matches they played here, really not living up to their expectations. So this is going to hurt for a while if you're a Ram. We got to see some senior performances today by Walsh and Maxwell that were real capstone performances for their careers. But there's not really anything that anyone can do for you at this point to make this feel better. It's just going to take time. They've represented the conference very well, and as a fellow ACAA athlete, I think that the whole conference should be proud of them as what they've done here for our conference, not only as a host but as a representative team. St. Thomas, this is the result you wanted. You came. Many people thought that they were an underdog. They did receive the bottom seed in the tournament, and they just won a game at nationals, and that's a huge, accomplishment to hang your hat on. Looks like Walsh will receive Player of the Game here for the Dal AC Rams. But if you're St. Thomas, this is a great foundation to build on for this coming season in the 2018 year and onward. They've won a game at nationals. They won, and that really is just a capstone performance for this St. Thomas team. And much to look forward to for them in this coming year.
Bertolin, the player of the game there for St. Thomas, and the thing is that I think St. Thomas has really said to the ACAA for the upcoming season, you've talked about a lot, is that we could be a force to be reckoned with, because I mentioned earlier they have only so many players, like 7 first-year players, 8 second-year players. That's a pretty well core of the team, and only 2 third-year players. So a lot of these guys will be back, and they're going to build off this experience. So with that, we'll say, James, thanks you very much, and we're going to, of course, take a little bit of a break. We're going to have game number 2, another seeding game. It's going to feature the Grand Prairie Regional College out of the ACAC taking on the Pac West Douglas College Royals. So we want to thank everybody for tuning in to this live stream. For my broadcast colleague James Wise, our technical producer and cameraman Brian Fisher, my name is Dan Hobson. Thank you for tuning in. So long from Halifax, and we hope you can join us for the Wolves Royals, and that will be coming up at 12:30 here on Bell 5 TV1. So long for now.